Peace, peace, and greetings. What's happening, YouTube? Give me 2 seconds. What's happening, YouTube? It's Nocturnal Thoughts. Hey, boxing has always and will always be about money, business, economics, generational wealth. Period. Don't let nobody tell you no other way. Don't let nobody put it in your head that boxing is all about the sport, all about honor, all about legacy. Those come with it. As a boxer, hold on. That's my man Brutus down there, knocked out. Come here. As a boxer, they want you to use your body up, break yourself down, and then get rid of you, and then bring in the younger version of yourself. Out with the old and in with the new. They don't care whether or not you leave with your body broken up and your bank account empty. Now, for you as a boxer or a boxing fan who adores your favorite boxer, the way you want him to leave the game is like Mayweather. See, I see a lot of people that try to put some kind of a negative shadow on what Mayweather was able to accomplish. Like all he was about was money. He wasn't fighting the fights he was supposed to fight. He wasn't fighting for legacy and things like that. Well, at the end of the day, what it's about is not about that fighter making money. It's about being able to break generational curses and being able to have generational wealth. Now, your kids, your grandkids, and your great-grandkids are able to come into the world with a status on their name and with a finance backing them up. And if you don't do that, if you have the ability and the opportunity as a prize fighter, as a boxer, to be able to accumulate enough wealth to break a generational curse over hundreds and hundreds of years of being in disenfranchisement, now all of a sudden your kids grow up not knowing anything about that. Their kids growing up with education, with finances, with the ability to have the best of the best life. And then not only that, but then your great grandkids and maybe even your great grandkids being able to pass down generational wealth. That's what boxing as a boxer should only be about. Not just getting it for you and yours, but changing the trajectory of your whole family past you. So don't let nobody sit here and tell you that boxing is only supposed to be about the glory. Showbiz is dope. Bow, I salute one of my favorite YouTube channels. But he just said one thing that I didn't agree with, and I know he could elaborate and say it in a different way, but I'm just gonna touch on it. He said, Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker, yeah, he might have died broke. I think he said Sweet Pea, but he said he might have died broke, but in his death, his legacy is rich. His legacy is wealthy, and that's cool. But the grandkids, the great-grandkids, the great-great-grandkids, they can't eat legacy. You know what I'm saying? They can't come into educational privilege because of a legacy. It takes business, it takes money, it takes economics. It takes if you were like Deontay Wilder, betting on himself, trying to become something, not just a millionaire, not just a rich and famous athlete, who has his kids being spoiled. He's trying to break generational curses. So when you look at Terrence Bud Crawford, when you look at Errol Spence, when you look at Deontay Wilder, when you look at all these boxers, because all these boxers, think about boxers, think about the fighter. The fighter is usually coming from the most disenfranchised background. You see what I'm saying? Like, most of the time, you're not gonna get the fighter that's just born into a nice silver spoon, golden spoon, plush, lavish life. He might not have to be going through the dirt, through the ghettos, and through the hoods, and through. You don't have to be Pacquiao. That's why everybody loves Pacquiao, because Pacquiao comes from the mud, from the basement, from the dirt. Mayweather come from the dirt. Adrian Broner come from the dirt. Terrence Bud Crawford come from the dirt. And that's what I said in my video about Errol Spence. Some people don't want to give Errol Spence full credit because he comes from a suburban lifestyle, probably a lower middle class lifestyle, or even a high middle class. High middle class, low middle class. That ain't breaking generation. That's one step away from coming from poverty. So don't look at somebody and say, oh, just because they didn't come from the hood, just because they didn't come from the slums, just because they didn't come from absolute nothing and made themselves into something, then they're not a champion. Because at the end of the day, middle class really don't even exist. And at the end of the day, all you have is rich and poor. That's why they say the rich get richer and the poor get poor. It ain't no such thing really as no middle class. Don't get it twisted. And you as a fighter have the ability, whether you lower class or middle class or whatever class you come from, if you're a fighter, you have the ability to break generational poverty, generational chains that's around the wrists and the shackles on your wrists and your ankles that keep your family beat down. Middle class is somebody working from 9 to 5, maybe even more. Both parents is working. That ain't life. Both families is working just to, put check with a check to make ends meet. You got a fighter that comes from a family that got 2 working hard parents that make the ends meet, so they didn't grow up just with nothing. But you want to say that middle class person ain't have a warrior heart mentality? That's twisted. Mayweather's grandkids, that's changing the game. Pacquiao's grandkids, that's going to change the game from Pacquiao family from this point on. Deontay Wilder's in a position to where his grandkids, his great-grandkids, their mentality, their whole life is going to be completely miles away from what it could have been. Quiet. So that's boxing. Economics and business first. So when you start having these people saying, well, these boxers need to get out of the Floyd Mayweather mentality. No. Nocturnal thoughts, I disagree. Now, do you have to have the heart of a lion? Do you have to have the mentality of a warrior and a gladiator? Of course. You step into that ring, you have to be on beast mode. But you also have to understand what it's all about. You don't put your life on the line for legacy only. You don't put your life on the line just for honor. You don't put your life on the line just for money and clothes and women. You put your life on the line because within your one lifetime, you can break curses that's been around for hundreds of years. You can break curses and create generational wealth through your business savvy and through your boxing skills. And that's what it's all about. Changing the game. The game has evolved in Mayweather and Pacquiao, and now you got these younger guys coming up behind him. As long as they don't get caught up in the party lifestyle, the going out and flashy lifestyle and going out and trying to flaunt their cash, if they understand what their cash really means, what stacking up really means, what building really means, going into that entrepreneurial mentality to where they understand they are a brand, they have the ability to create something that's going to surpass their career. when they can't even box anymore, they still being able to just rake in money and then pass it down into the family. Then that's what boxing is. That's what warrior. That's what gladiator. That's the mentality of a true gladiator. That's the mentality of a true king. A true king is not just thinking about his lifetime. A true king is just not thinking about the past. A true king is thinking about his lifetime, the past, and light years into the future where he wants his family name to be. So anyway, so this video don't stretch out too long. Nocturnal Thoughts. I appreciate y'all time. Peace and salute. I'm out.